Java is a very common and popular programming language in recent years. It drives our phones, servers, and lots of Internet of Things. Java, not to be confused with JavaScript or the island of Java, seriously, don't confuse it with JavaScript, works inside the Java Virtual Machine, or JVM. The JVM acts as a middle ground between your code and the hardware or operating system of your device. By adapting the JVM to run on different devices and OSs, this allows your code to work and execute inside the JVM exactly the same regardless of where it's run. This takes out the work the developer would have to spend adapting his code to work on different platforms and is what gives Java its write once, run everywhere slogan, since the JVM takes care of adapting your code. So how do we use and program in Java? Well, first you'll need to download and install a version of Java. I will not go over this as I assume most people watching this are capable of installing software, and if you're not or just unsure of specifically how to install Java, there are numerous other videos and references out there. One thing I would note, however, is I would recommend also grabbing the Java JDK along with the normal Java JRE instance, as the Java JDK is essential for a fair amount of Java programming. So now that we have Java installed, let's look at some IDEs that we can use to program in Java. Focusing on IDEs are more tailored towards working in Java. Eclipse, IntelliJ, and NetBeans are the three more popular choices. However, there are tons more. If you're wanting to get into Android development, however, you're going to want to use Android Studio. Eclipse, IntelliJ, and NetBeans are three good options. I personally have worked with Eclipse and IntelliJ, so I can provide a little more details about them here to help you choose one. However, just because I've not used NetBeans doesn't mean I don't recommend it. Remember, the IDE is there so you can program better and more efficiently. If you're working with one and not liking the style or finding it's hard to use, try out another one. Finding the one that works best for you is key. So first for Eclipse. If you really aren't picky about IDEs and are more of a common sedan person than a sporty and flashy sedan person, Eclipse is probably the best for you. Stock out of the box is very easy to use and pick up and has a great solid community behind it to help with any issues may occur. Plugins are also pretty bountiful as well as to help extend its functionality. Most schools, universities, and classes also recommend this IDE. Overall, Eclipse is my go-to IDE when doing Java development, as I've been working with it for so long that it's hard for me to switch. IntelliJ, on the other hand, is a much more feature-packed out-of-the-box than Eclipse, and I argue feels much more powerful. Also, dark mode. Eclipse, I'm still waiting. IntelliJ is also great for people who like ecosystems, as JetBrains has IDEs from many other languages and they share a similar look and feel. This carries over to Android Studio, as IntelliJ is the power horse behind that IDE as well. Honestly, if you're a programmer looking to get into Java, I recommend giving IntelliJ a try first, as it may feel a bit more powerful to those familiar with programming already. Now that we have our IDE picked out, what is Java good for anyways? Well, the real question is to ask what can't it be used for, as games, websites, servers, and normal applications all have uses for Java. Popular games such as Minecraft and RuneScape both utilize Java heavily. Many websites run frameworks that allow developers to create what are called servlets, that are essentially Java backend websites. I mean, after all, Java was initially built for the web. Server software like Hadoop allows Java users to cluster computers into powerful data crunching servers. You also can't forget to mention Java is the near de facto programming language for Android apps. Honestly, it's hard to go wrong with Java. So how about some pros and cons then? Our first pro is that it's versatile. There are so many different applications for this programming language that there's really nothing it can't do. Next, it's also a well-established language. Java has been around for a bit and has a large community developing with it and has been able to push the language's boundaries. And it also helps newcomers as well, which leads to the third pro of it's newbie friendly. Lastly, you can't beat the compile runs war on everywhere. Because of the JVM, Java can be run on so many different devices, operating systems, and Internet of Things that it's just hard to beat. Now for some cons. First, Java is pretty memory heavy. Because Java uses the JVM to run programs, Java naturally uses a lot of memory and RAM. Secondly, Java is very verbose. It often takes a lot of code to do fairly simple things, like Java's Hello World program. Lastly, Java is slower than most other programs because Java doesn't compile down to machine code, but instead Java bytecode that gets then interpreted by the JVM. Java isn't nearly as fast as lower level languages. Overall, Java is never really a bad choice for quick and dirty projects. Java does scale well, and the amount of available APIs and libraries are hard to beat. As you work with Java and other languages more, you will start to get a feel for when Java might not be the best pick for a project. The first step to learning any new language is to simply play around with the basics and get coding. So that is where we will pick up in the next video.